Super Smash Bros. Primary selling point is getting together with a bunch of friends and decking it out with your favorite characters. Right? Well, that's partially true. Listen, this may be a bit of a hot take here, but there is a whole lot more to Smash Bros. Than just the Versus mode. It's a ton of fun, don't get me wrong, but one of the most exciting things about this entire franchise is all of the extras that are crammed into these games. A ton of things that you can occupy your time with. When you don't want to battle your friends, or people online, or CPU players, there's a lot more to do. When you really dig into the finer details of things, there could be a lot of arguments made on what does and does not constitute an extra mode. So for the sake of this video, I did make up a few rules. First off, if it's behind a button on the menu outside of the basic Smash menu, then it's probably on here. This means as entertaining as customizing your upcoming fight or constantly losing playable fighters in Smashdown really is, you're still ultimately doing the same thing, so I'm not gonna count it. Also, if it's a mode that shows up in multiple games, they'll all be included in a single entry unless the differences between them are relatively drastic. Going into the deep nitty-gritty of every single individual mode will only, probably, definitely drive me insane. So I've narrowed it down to 28 different modes across all 6 games, and as of version 5.0 of Smash Ultimate, Sakurai has stated that Home Run Contest is going to be the final mode added to the game. I know he can do whatever he wants, and that statement may be proven false in the future, but at the moment, our group of modes is set in stone. Ranking everything was a lot easier than I anticipated. There is a lot of meaningless fluff in these games, well, let's get it started. Street Smash was... Man, what happened here? I mean, StreetPass was really cool, having Smash on the go was also really cool, but I don't know, man, playing this weird cluster of a Beyblade match as an incentive to care about Smash StreetPass data? Yeah, I can't say I'm a fan. We do get a really cute remix of Smash 4's theme though, so that's pretty nice, but otherwise, if I never touch this again, I really won't be that upset. Oh yeah, I remember the masterpieces. During the era where Nintendo was promoting the Virtual Console a whole bunch, getting demos of certain games starring some of the prominent fighters was pretty neat. Until this happens after what feels like 10 seconds. The lineup of games in Brawl was actually kinda solid, even if 2 of them didn't leave Japan, and getting a whole 5 minutes to play Ocarina of Time? That's actually awesome. For some of the shorter ones though, the fact it takes a decent fraction of the overall time limit to load a game and go back to the Smash menu ends up making this whole thing feel like it's really not worth diving into. Admittedly, that isn't a problem in Smash Wii U's Masterpiece mode, and there are some more games to choose from, but for some reason, we have a lot of downgrades, like there are no N64 games, you have some obvious game titles that are omitted like Sonic 1 and Street Fighter 2. In my opinion, there's no reason why they shouldn't be here, especially if we got NES Pac-Man, not even the arcade version. Oh, but no worries, we got some Game Boy games instead. Oh man, cool, we got Game Boy Dr. Mario instead of NES Dr. Mario, truly what the doctor ordered. Number 26, Classic Mode, Smash Wii U. What a disaster this is. Immediately, not even 2 seconds into this whole thing, you can see that there is nothing, quote, classic about this. Instead of getting the traditional arcade mode setup, we have this weird board thing where you select from a group of fights that could really be anything. The level of randomness is legitimately ridiculous. Don't strategize anything, it'll be a waste of your time, I promise. It doesn't matter what you think the upcoming fight is gonna be, it will literally change at the last second. I'm not coming from a place of someone who needs to play Smash in a competitive format, but if the game is gonna tell me what the fight is, I would certainly hope it would at the very least stick to it. It doesn't even tell you the format of the battle until you start it up, so yeah, like I said, don't strategize anything, it's pointless. This is the first mode on this list that does include proper Smash gameplay, and it's well deserved. This is the only mode in the entire series I legitimately dread going back to. Smash Tour, Smash Wii U's other single-player mode. A lot of what I said about Classic Mode can be applied here too, but at least you go into this knowing it is going to be a complete wacky disaster. This board game setup where you collect shiny objects, playable characters, items to mess with your opponents, and experience these random events, it is completely insane. I'd be lying though if I didn't say it does get a chuckle out of me every now and then. I love getting items that you're supposed to use against your opponents, but they also use an item against an opponent opponent and then it just messes up what you just had planned, and then nothing matters anymore. That's it. That's the best way to describe this mode. Nothing matters. Every game also ends with a final battle with all of the characters that you accumulated, all of which are adjusted to match the items that you picked up along the way, Kirby's Air Ride City Trial style. Don't worry, I'll be bringing that up again soon enough. Completely nonsensical, but not the worst thing in the world. Okay, hear me out on this. I simply appreciate Nintendo acknowledging every part of their legacy up until this time. It was here I learned they ended up publishing a handful of Hamtaro games back in the day. Now, I'm not saying this opens the door for Hamtaro to be a fighter in the future. Nintendo is. On a personal level, the photo album never really interested me. Taking cool photos of in-game moments or even a collection of trophies just was never really my thing. When other people get a hold of it though, it's really cool. This is where some high-quality images have popped up over the years. I just never cared to do it myself. However, it did end up being a pretty humorous use of the gamepad back in Smash 4, so if anything, that part is great. Here we go, the big boy, World of Light. This huge adventure mode for Ultimate certainly sounded ambitious before the game's release, but in reality, it's pretty draining in my opinion. This adventure goes on for what feels like forever. The map is gigantic, and there's no fast travel, so that's cool. It's a whole lot of running and hopefully remembering where the correct path is to your destination. There's a skill tree, that's kinda neat, but aside from a handful of battles like that damned Pauline one, I still have nightmares about that by the way, it rarely ever feels like those upgrades made much of a difference. The true highlights come from the proper references outside of the spirit battles, exploring a maze based on Pac-Man, using characters in ways that make sense like Lapras to go across water or Rob64 to fix the Great Fox, traveling across the different continents to fight all of the world fighters from Street Fighter. These moments are awesome, but there is a whole lot of monotony in between them. It took me 20 hours to complete this 100%, and I promise you this, I will never do it again. Yeah, I'm gonna assume most of you forgot about this one. VR in Smash Ultimate. I mean, if you have a Nintendo Labo VR kit, why not? It works, and it certainly makes for some interesting viewing, so I can definitely appreciate the effort put into this, but sadly, the only thing you can do in this mode is spectate matches and play in single-player ones. No multiplayer. That means no walking up to a tournament looking like this. Sorry buddy, can't happen. It is for sure better than the Wii U version, but Classic Mode in Smash 3DS is still one of the weaker variations of this mode. At least it follows a linear structure now, like a proper arcade mode should. That's nice. Also, you can make Mario dance. This still does have some of that randomness garbage the Wii U mode had, but it is a lot more manageable here. Thankfully, the 3DS being less powerful than the Wii U means you can never fall into an 8-player Smash, and I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemies. It does sort of feel like they tried to make things different just for the sake of it without having the changes make a whole lot of sense, but I at least never wanted to rage quit this one, so credit where credit's due, I guess. If you want a quick burst of Smash goodness with an old school style challenge mode attached to it, Multi-Man and Mob Smash is for you. Making its way into every Smash game except the first one, they all base themselves around the same idea. By picking one of the options on this list, you can either see how many enemies you can take out in a certain time limit, or see how long it takes to defeat a certain number of opponents. There's even an endless mode for more classic arcade high score goodness. They also put in a new mode in Smash 4, Rival, where you compete against another character to get the most knockouts. It's a pretty good change of pace, not gonna lie. Unlike traditional smashing, these characters all end up being punching bags, making it pretty satisfying to come back and try to outdo yourself over and over again. Except for Cruel mode. Yeah, that still sucks. Ultimate would also throw in a new mode, a variant of All-Star. But on that note, in a pretty similar vein to Multi-Man Smash, All-Star presents a challenge of going through every single playable character, in a different order depending on which game it is. Melee is random, Brawl is each series' initial release date with each stage dedicated to a singular franchise, and Smash 4 is each character's individual debut, in chronological order on 3DS, and reverse on Wii U. It's basic, and it gets the job done. It's also a good way to test your skills with each fighter. However, by the time Smash 4 came around, there were so many many characters to choose from, an All-Star run felt pretty damn bloated. The developers definitely knew it too, because in Ultimate, like I said, All-Star is now a form of Mob Smash. Like before, characters show up based on when they debuted, but the challenge of seeing how long you can last makes it a much more enjoyable run, considering the massive roster size. I'm assuming when you get all the way to the end, it just cycles back to the beginning, but I wouldn't know. I've never come close to seeing Inkling, Joker, Incineroar, none of those. I get about 1/3 of the way through, and then that's it, I'm toasted. I don't think I ever will. Smash 4 tried to change up the typical target format with Target Blast. Here you beat up a bomb for a bit before sending it off into a huge area covered in blocks and targets. And the explosions, combined with blocks being pushed around, destroy those targets, making this another high score challenge. It's simple, there's only 3 stages to choose from, and it is very, very satisfying. Also, this is just Angry Birds. Like, can we talk about that? How they weren't even subtle with this one? Angry Birds was popular at the time, so why not have Smash rip it off? That is still very, very weird. So this is more or less classic mode from Smash 64, but it's just called 1P game, straight and to the point. I like it. This is the one that started it all, in arcade mode in its purest form. You got 11 battles and 3 bonus stages, all of which are predetermined for every single character. Considering how small the roster is, I am totally cool with this. If anything, this route is pretty damn memorable. Link, Yoshi team, Fox, busting up some targets, and then wow, Tired Luigi. This is also home to Board the Platforms, the only time this game ever appeared in a Smash title. A true shame it never came back. I know it's very similar to Target Test, but it's still really fun. And that battle against Metal Mario, so damn good. The stage has never shown up in an official capacity again, the music is fantastic, and it's accompanied by the loud footsteps of a metallic plumber out for a stroll. Yeah, it's the same every single time, but it is a damn good way to start off the series. Coming off of 1P game, the first mode ever titled Classic is based on a similar idea. We have another linear setup of challenges to tackle, but we now have a good amount of randomness to make each run a lot more interesting. Instead of everything being predetermined, only the battle formats are. For example, you always start off with a 1v1, then a 2v2, stage 5 is a 3 versus giant, etc. Once again, we have some exclusive games too, like Race to the Finish and Snag the Trophies. How can we forget about that one? And if you're good enough, the final battle with Master Hand will become a handicap battle with Crazy Hand as well. I still remember the first time that crazy thing showed up in my game. Very memorable moment. Over time, it has become super easy to guarantee this encounter, but it's still pretty gratifying all the same. Pretty damn good classic mode. Break the targets, target test, target smash, whatever you want to call it, the one where you destroy targets. The premise is simple. Pick a character, get thrown into a large, generic-looking stage, and break all 10 targets as quickly as possible. 64 and Melee handle this fantastically, with each fighter having a unique stage specifically built around what their movesets can accomplish. Sometimes the aesthetics match the character too, which is cool. I guess it was because the roster was getting too big, but for whatever reason, now we only have one stage for each of the 5 difficulties. That's it. Just 5. They're not character dependent. They're still fun, so it's fine, but it certainly comes off as a bit of an obvious downgrade. I know it's a bit much asking for 70 plus unique target stages for Smash Ultimate, but I'm just saying, it'd be pretty good. And then we got Angry Birds. That is really depressing. It's fun, but damn, that's depressing. Honestly, Home Run Contest is probably the simplest mode in the entire franchise. Beat up a sandbag, see how far you can knock it. That's it. And it's awesome! By the time Ultimate came around, Sandbag also learned how to emote. Now you just try to say no to that face. Of course I'll beat you up, man. I'll do another round any day. Smash 4 did introduce a lot of stinkers, but special orders, this is very underrated in my opinion. Yeah, at its core it does result in normal smashing, which I did say would not qualify for this list, but the context behind these battles is constantly changing. This is all about taking on different battle scenarios to unlock some goodies, like money or music. And unlike Smash Tour, this is actually a fun way to get thrown into random battles, and Crazy Orders, specifically, is a total blast. See, here you test yourself to see how many challenges you can complete under a time limit, while also being a matter of risk and reward, since challenges constantly get a bit more difficult, and the further you go, the harder the final battle with Crazy Hand gets. I don't know why people don't talk about this more. This is really fun. Whenever I pop Smash Wii U back into my console, I always make sure to give this a solid run. Or 3, or 5. It's happened before. For roughly a decade, Brawl by far had the best take on Classic mode. This sort of takes a blend of 64's predetermined setup and Melee's random setup and gives us routes with predetermined franchises, but the matches you perform are still random from a select few. Stage 1 is always The Legend of Zelda, Stage 2 is Yoshi or Donkey Kong, Stage 3 is Pokemon, etc. The only real downer is the bonus games come in the form of Target Smash twice. Why? Aside from that little bit though, overall, really good take on the series staple. Similar to the photo album, customization in Smash has never really been my thing. Brawl had modifiers with stickers for the single player mode, and Smash 4 would go all out and let you tweak every character's special attacks. Pretty cool. Once you unlocked them, of course, that part really sucked. But it simply never interested me. I wanted to play Smash as the characters were by default. I know, I'm pretty boring. Being able to make Miis, on the other hand, this is where things get a bit more interesting and where this idea reaches a higher potential. Especially when we look at how Ultimate is doing things. Considering how much hype went into Sans and Cuphead being mere costumes instead of actual characters, it's safe to say customization in Smash is being handled better than ever. It is so much fun being able to look up user-uploaded costumes. People are really clever. We got Iron Man, Dr. Eggman, Woody, Buzz, looking a little buzzed if you know what I'm saying, Shirk. Oh no. Nothing like a good old achievement system to get the blood pumping, you know? The challenges are pretty straightforward. Do the thing one of the boxes tell you to do, you get a little trinket, and then you do another one, and another one, and another one. It's simple, and it works. Honestly, for a game like this, it makes total sense. While some can definitely argue that this is an arbitrary way to unlock things, considering just how much content these games are getting filled with, this gives the player a reason to check out everything each game has to offer, and get rewarded for it. I mean, hell, it's one of the reasons why I'm making this video in the first place, to show appreciation to everything within a Smash game. Also, this challenge idea started back in Kirby Air Ride, so gotta give credit where credit's due. Respect your elders, kids. Okay, now we're getting to the really good stuff. Adventure mode. All these years later, I still love this mode so much. Rather than being a simple series of fights, now we get to properly explore little snippets of Nintendo worlds. Running through the Mushroom Kingdom, navigating a dungeon from Zelda, avoiding incredibly inconsiderate and fast F-Zero racers. It's awesome stuff. It's just a shame that, well, only half the mode is like this. Getting to the end of the Mario stage at the correct time and seeing Luigi more or less kill his brother is great. Fighting 2 small Donkey Kongs and then 1 big Donkey Kong? Yeah, that's not. Oh, let's not forget the bonus you get for defeating Kirby and then a series of Kirbys in a fast enough time. Another Kirby, come on, man. But hey, all is forgiven. Making it to the final battle against Bowser and being greeted by Giga Bowser? That legitimately terrified me when I was a kid, so yeah, pretty good mode. And now, what if we took adventure mode from Melee and just blew it up to this huge 8-hour adventure? Subspace Emissary is so cool, man. We get fan service filled cutscenes, a constantly swapping blend of platforming and fighting, large boss battles, a great way to collect a bunch of stuff. This adventure does so many things so damn well. It does lose some points for not going all in with the Nintendo fan service in my opinion, but overall, really cool. Going into further detail here would just take way too long. But, luckily for you, I literally just did an entire video based on Subspace Emissary, so you can go and check that out. Listen, I'm pretty shameless, I'm aware. The events are awesome for similar reasons as to why Special Orders is awesome. Being offered exclusive battle types is just a really cool idea, but specifically with the events, this allows the fights to have some story context behind them, as well as also coming in formats that you can't really do yourself in the normal Smash menu. Here you have to knock out Pikachu, but it can only be hit by Pokemon attacks. Now you gotta protect the Yoshi egg from breaking at all costs. How about this? Survive all the Marios and get to the flagpole as Bowser. I like this one a lot. A fight to the death between all 4 Links from 4 Swords. That's pretty neat. And how can we forget about trophy tussles? I mean, they forgot about trophy tussles. They didn't show up in any more games after Melee. Let me do a round on the Needle Kirby trophy. That'll end in a complete disaster, and I am all for it. Aside from Smash Wii U organizing the events in a damn outright bizarre way, knocking these out and seeing what scenarios the developers came up with was always one of the most exciting parts about a Smash game for me. And then we didn't get events in Ultimate. Come on, man. Okay, and speaking of trophies, collecting them was always so damn fun. This is easily one of the best ways Nintendo managed to throw in an overload of fan service into these games. Creating all these models and poses, writing little information blurbs for these characters, stages, items, anything that's ever been in a Nintendo game, and even some third parties once they started getting thrown in, was so awesome. Shout out to Coin Launcher for consuming far too much of my life. From a visual perspective, it was just really cool seeing so much love thrown into these characters that never showed up in the actual game. Like how Rayman and friends got trophies and nothing else in Smash 4 still blows my mind. Oh, and hey, did you know Daisy had a third eye all this time? Wow, very cool. And sadly, trophies were also taken out of Ultimate, which sucks, but instead... Okay, I didn't think I was gonna like spirits as much as I did. These are great. The spirits end up satisfying a huge array of what-if scenarios by taking established characters and putting you up against one of the million available playable fighters in an event mode styled scenario that ends up making perfect sense to the character. The reporter and wrestler from Rhythm Heaven? Yeah, Pikachu Libre in a boxing ring. The photo-taking Fatal Frame spirit pops up. Genius. Every time a spirit showed up, half the fun is seeing how they were formatted into a special fight. And thanks to some free DLC, getting new spirits thrown in on a regular basis is a great reason to turn the game on for a few minutes to add to the huge spirit list. It's gigantic. There's a bunch of side content you can do, like level spirits up, put them on quests, train them to be better at a specific field, but that's not for me. And then there's World of Light. Like I said before, in my opinion, this is a pretty cumbersome way of turning the spirit idea into a long single-player mode. What I would rather have, and it's upsetting it's not in the game, is a way to easily re-fight spirits via the spirit list. Unless they show up on that gigantic map or they show up on the spirit board, my best bet to remember what that fight was like is to go online. That kinda stinks. I also don't know why they didn't have flavor text for the characters like the trophies did. If we're gonna sacrifice these really cool 3D models for simple PNGs, the least you could have done was write a paragraph about them. I know there's 1,300 plus spirits, so would have been a lot of text, but come on, I'm a Smash fan, that means I want everything. There are a couple issues with how spirits were implemented, but overall, I love these things. Keep making new spirits until the end of time, I am okay with that. Okay, once again, like the photo album and customization, the actual creation part of the stage builder doesn't interest me at all. For what it's worth, making stages can be fairly entertaining, but I always felt like Brawl and Wii U were pretty limited with what you can do. I never felt like playing a custom stage rather than an official one. However, in Ultimate, that's all changed. There are a whole lot more options to tinker with here, and like the Mii's, you're able to easily download user-created stages. And seeing what awesome stuff people have made, man, it actually does make me want to play some of these over official stages. More than once, too. That's crazy. The table from the opening to Smash 64, Bob-omb Battlefield, Bikini Bottom, why not? The music from Yoshi's Island DS even fits. That's hilarious. This is a very tried and true idea. When given the proper tools, people can let their creativity flow, and this is an awesome reminder of that. This mode being exclusive to Smash 3DS is a sin. Okay, so take the amazing City Trial mode from Kirby Air Ride, throw that into a format that is essentially a giant Smash stage, and it is a recipe for success. You got a few minutes to go, just move in a direction and get a bunch of colorful icons to boost your abilities, fight a bunch of actual Nintendo enemies this time and not just a bunch of shadow people, go into doors to take on special challenges, race to specific locations when a special event takes place. Every single run is different, and they always end with a final encounter that could be a battle, or it could be an enemy gauntlet. Or it could be a race. You never know. It is so wild to me. The element of collecting items and being at the mercy of randomness is similar to Smash Tour, but how is there so much more variety in the final challenge of Smash Run? All you have are battles in Smash Tour. That is objectively not as cool. And since this mode is stuck on the relatively weaker 3DS, there is clearly so much room for improvement here. Multiple stages, even more final challenges. Hell, being able to actually mess with the other players in real time instead of them just showing up on a map. There is so much more they can do here if they put this on console, but for what it is, Smash Run is incredible, and it is the main reason Smash 3DS ever returns to my console. And now for number 1. If you're keeping up, you know exactly what this is. Clearly, I'm really big into fan service, as well as special character-based scenarios like an event mode. Well, in my opinion, number 1 encapsulates that perfectly, and it is the reason why I love Smash. I really don't know the general opinion of this mode, but Classic and Ultimate is damn near perfection. So like, you know how cool it is that every character in the earlier games had a unique target test stage? Yeah, make an entire classic route like that for every single character. That's incredible! There are some similarities to previous takes on classic mode, but the fact that every character has a unique set of rules and conditions with each battle, with an overarching idea that does make sense for the character you chose, it's so cool, I can't express that enough. Like for Ryu, his path references Street Fighter 2, and you always play on Omega stages in stamina mode. That's perfect. Joker fights a bunch of shadow creatures. Makes sense. Kirby goes up against characters who like to eat, and food items are constantly showing up. Of course they are. Sometimes the final battle even follows suit too. Mega Man, this one is special. The final encounter is with Dr. Mario, who after being defeated, summons Mewtwo to finish the job. A very clear reference to the end of Mega Man 2. I could really go on with this, but combined with the idea of spirits, there was very clearly a lot of time and thought put into Ultimate that went into building battles that make sense for the characters found within, not just battling for the sake of it. When you really look at Smash Ultimate, like the big picture, we lost a lot of stuff. We lost a full-fledged single-player adventure, trophies, event mode, masterpieces, may they rest in peace. But the way I see it, if fan service is one of, if not the biggest appeal of Super Smash Bros., not just for Nintendo, but for gaming as a whole, Ultimate is nailing it better than any of the games coming before it. And Classic Mode in particular is my favorite mode in this series yet for that reason alone. It is rocking a bunch of fan service, and it is a ton of fun too. Well, until a potential sequel, when and if that'll even happen. I think Sakurai finally deserves a nap after Ultimate is said and done. Boy, that was a mouthful, and hopefully I didn't ruffle up too many feathers with my ranking. I just wanted to talk about every single mode I can find in these games. There is so much to do. If you're not a fan of the multiplayer aspects of these titles, you're guaranteed to find something you will be into. And if, after all this, I have fallen on deaf ears, there is one thing you should take away from this video. Hamtaro has shown up in more Nintendo games than Sora, therefore, the hamster has a stronger chance of being a playable fighter in the future. Sorry, I don't make the rules.